The Wonder by Onomonopia. Chapter 21 Applejack. The sun was beginning to peek over the horizon, signaling that the night had gone and that morning now reigned. But even as the light streaked in the window and rested upon Diana's face, she never lifted her eyes for even a moment as she continued to gaze down at her student. Sunset was fast asleep in her bed, breathing softly while Diana watched over her. Diana had brought Sunset home the moment she had found her wounded in the park, lured her address by using the lasso of truth on a postal worker that she had spied from above. It's only now she had realized she had never apologized to the man. That is she. The voice of Athena spoke from behind Diana. She is finally resting, and her fever died down earlier this morning. Diana informed the goddess, without turning around. Athena lay on Diana's shoulder, resting there, gazing down at Sunset with concern. However, she is still incredibly weak from her battle last night, and will most likely not be back 100% for some time. Why not give her the medicine that Hermes entrusted to you? You have given it to her before, Athena asked. Diana's response was to hand her a now empty vial. I gave Sunset the remainder of it last night when I got her here. I was able to heal her wounds, but... Diana trailed off, sensing that Diana no longer wished to speak. Athena glanced around at the small apartment that Sunset called home. It amazed the goddess how similar it was compared to Diana's. Only the bare essentials: a table, a fridge, her bed, numerous books all over the place. Then again, she does live by herself, Athena figured. The sun slowly continued to rise as the pair sat in silence, gazing over the sleeping student. Then, in a flash, Diana struck the side cabinet with her fist, blasting it to splinters while the ear exploded from the force of the blow. Athena leapt off Diana's shoulders and hovered in the air above her, able to see her fury radiating from her body. You looked like Ares did when she got mad, Athena informed Diana. I should have been there, Diana whispered, yet the very air around her trembled in fear of her power. I let my guard down, and Hades nearly claimed Sunset because of my lapse of judgment. You will pay for this. I swear to Zeus you will pay. And I've sent you in, but right now you have other matters to attend to, Athena reminded Diana. Diana gave her a questioning look that would have terrified anyone other than the goddess. Athena tilted her head towards the wall. It is almost time for class to start. You have already missed your morning tutoring sessions with Rainbow Dash and the other students. Are you going to miss class as well? To Hades with the class! I will not abandon Sunset again when she's like this, Diana swore. Diana shook her head before landing on the bed before Diana, gazing up with eyes that were filled with wisdom. While it is noble of you, you are a little used to Sunset right now. The wiser decision would be to go to Canterlot High, find out what you can about the enemy that attacked Sunset last night. Athena instructed Diana. Diana wished to argue that she would stay, but she knew better than to question Athena's wisdom. How could I do that? The only person that was there when the attacker appeared was... I see you are starting to think straight again. Yes, Sunset might have been the one that fought the creature, but there was another student that warned us of their plight. Yes, there was. Watch over Sunset for me, and alert me the moment that there is any change, or if Hades comes for her again. Diana said no more words after that. Instead, she left their small apartment and took to the skies, hurrying towards Canterlot High. It wasn't until she was flying down above the school that she realized she was still in her Amazonian garb. With the power of her lasso, she returned to her teacher's outfit once more. She touched down at the school entrance, making sure there was no one around to see her fly in. It took all Diana's efforts to not tear out the doors off their hinges as she entered the building. Well, look who it is, Sombra said with a smirk when he spotted Diana. Celestia wasn't happy when you didn't show up for tutoring today. He had to hand it off to me instead. The students weren't happy either, and I bet that... Whatever else Sombra had to say was silence, for Diana spun her head to face him with the wrath of a goddess flashing in her eyes. Sabra fell over with sheer terror while trying to cower away from her gaze. Diana left the man lying in a pool of his own sweat, hanging into the exit of Cranky's classroom. For what Sunset had told her about her friends and their schedules, she knew that Applejack was at Cranky's class first thing in the morning. Upon finding the classroom, she rapped her knuckles against the door twice, before hurling it open so she could enter. Miss Diana, Cranky said was confused when she stormed into the room. Can I help you? Yes, you can. I need to borrow Applejack. Diana instructed. Without waiting for his answer, Diana walked over to Applejack and motioned for her to follow Diana. What's this all about? AJ asked. I'll tell you outside, Diana replied, before practically lifting Applejack out of her seat and walking her towards the exit. Wait a minute, Diana, you can't just... Diana set her head with such ferocity and rage in her eyes that every student in the room, along with the teacher, practically leapt back from her gaze alone. For a long moment, no one dared to even breathe. If one of them had looked around the clock, they would have seen that even time had frozen in fear of Amazon's wrath. Then Diana turned her gaze away from the students and ushered Applejack out the door. The students and Cranky all let out a sigh of relief as he exited. Alright, back to listen. Don't you do any of you do anything that brings her back in, Cranky warned them, while wiping the brow of his sleeve. Guys, it's taken me about 21 chapters, but I think I'm starting to realize my biggest complaint with the story. In that, this has so far been a pretty dang good and interesting Wonder Woman fic. Pony-wise, it's not good. The Humane Six have become nothing but side characters throughout this whole entire story. They barely have appeared. Sunset's the only one who has any importance to the plot, and she's barely been able to have much characterization in that category. What I'm saying is that this author's doing a pretty good job of writing Wonder Woman. Everything else hasn't been all that great. I guess that's what separates this from My Little Pirates earlier this year. There, it was just boring all the time, and there wasn't really anything much interesting because the author couldn't do movie right. Here, the author's got Diana down pretty well, so I'm able to keep myself distracted with that, but so far Diana's been a pretty dang good distraction. However, the flaws are right now nagging at the back of my head. Not hating this, guys. Just very, very, very perturbed. Out in the back of the school, here's a dirt bike track that had yet to be taken down. Diana essentially dragged Applejack with her. Applejack tried multiple times to break Diana's grip and ask her what was going on, but Diana's strength made Big Mac seem pathetic in comparison. Ow! Please, you have no nasty grip! Applejack complained when Diana finally let go of her shoulder. Not rude of you dragging me out of class like that, Applejack remarked while rubbing her shoulder. I need you to tell me everything you know about the creature that attacked you and Sunset the other day, Diana said. But the way the creature crossed her arms and glared down at Applejack, it was clear to the student that Diana didn't want to hear any questions or remarks. I don't know much. We're walking along, talking with one another, when suddenly, like a skull knot appeared out of the sky and attacked us, Applejack began to explain. She had questions of her own forming about the monster and Diana. And pointing his sword at us and told us not to run. But we didn't listen to it. He went after Sunset, talking to her in a manner that made it seem like the two knew each other. Or at least, he knew her. So, do we make it someone from either this world or Sunset's other world? Diana muttered to herself, just quiet enough so AZ couldn't hear. What happened next? Sunset told me we needed to split up since it was after her. She told me to get our friends. Or you. Diana saw suspicion in Applejack's eyes as she said this. Why would she tell me to get to you? Diana thought to herself, practically reading AJ's mind. You're a teacher, while our friends have raised magic in this world, unless you're more than just a teacher. Well, that's exactly what I did, AJ continued, not asking the question Diana thought she would. I came to the school and found you almost immediately. You took off with speed I couldn't give you credit for. That I know nothing else was happening. I've been worrying out my mind for my friend. Now, you're going to answer a question for me. What happened at sunset? Looking concerned and fury, E.T. gave Diana a press to tease her, but she kept her face neutral. Sunset was badly injured by the skeletal creature. When I found her, she had lost a lot of blood, was barely conscious. I rushed her home and tended to her wounds. She's sleeping there as we speak. You left her all alone? What if that thing comes back? What happened to that thing anyway? E.T. yelled at Diana. She's not alone. Athena's watching over her. Diana said in a voice so stern that any other outbursts were silenced before they could start. As for what that thing was, I truly have no idea. I did not see it. I arrived after it had already left. All I know of what you have told me. All I remember is that it wore bone-like armor and had a sword as red as Sunset's hair. A.T. said with a cold tone of her own. Thank you for telling me this. You may go back to class now. Diana stretched as she turned to start to walk away. Sunset showed at this school a long time ago. The strange things started happening. The three girls known as the Sirens appeared at the school, and mind-controlled everyone to make the fight. Then Twilight showed up and started to suck the magic out of us. A.T. began. Was it her words, or rather her tone that made Diana turn around to face her student once more? Are you implying something, Applejack? Diana asked. Applejack replied with a strong glare. Late Sunset starts getting horrible nightmares, right before a new and mysterious teacher shows up. A teacher that's smart, fast, and stronger than any human should be. Applejack continued. Then a giant zombie monster shows up with a skull knife. Not long after that teacher. Diana's eyes narrowed as she walked up to Applejack, towering over her with a stern glare. But to Applejack's credit, she glared right back up at Diana without giving an inch. If you have something to say to me, Applejack, then please say it to my face. You're part of the strange thing that's been going on around here. I don't know if you're the cause of what's going on, but you're trying to stop it. But there's far more to you than you're letting on, Applejack said in a whisper. Personally, I think A.J. would start growling at this point. Diana didn't bother to saying whether Applejack was right or not. Both of them knew she was. And what if you say is true? What will you do next? Diana asked. Applejack was silent for a long time after that. So long that the bell for the next period rang while she was thinking. Then, after nearly 20 minutes, she sighed shrugged her shoulder. Sunset trusts you, to the point where she told me to get you when the monster was chasing her. Well, I may not trust you completely. I trust Sunset. And since he hasn't told anyone else about you, well, I guess it's not my place to say anything either. A.J. finally said before turning and walking away. Dizzy stopped and glanced over her shoulder at Diana. But if you are on your side and are trying to stop these attacks, then you'll need to get a move on. Yesterday so you can't protect all of us at the same time. Diana remained silent as Applejack walked back to class. A smirk on her face at the tone that the student had taken into guise. But she's right. I haven't been doing enough to stop Hades' plans. She realized as she too started to head back to her classes. And now I know he won't stop until he gets their magic. Well, what can I do? I can't give them their magic, or else the gods knows what he'll do with it. But I can't keep defending these girls all my life, and theirs. What should I do? He sighed to himself as he closed the portal to the other world. I see enough disappointment for one day. But clearly, today is a constant annoyance for me, he thought as he spied the cloaked creature storming towards him. Hades might not have been able to see the being's face, but he knew all too well when the being was angry with him. You acted without consulting me. That was foolish, the being scorned. You may be angry, but we agreed we would work together. I never said that I would tell you all of my plans. I would stop trying to gather the magic in my own way. He shot back with a smirk at the being's anger. You also told me not to send in any more of these dead souls to the world. Instead, I simply empowered someone who was already loyal to me. You are making grave errors. Every time you show Diana more of your hand, you are giving her more knowledge to arm herself for her next move. The being snarled at Hades before using his shattered magic to open up his own portal to view the land. And worst of all, Sunset still lives. This world has gone so far off course from what I planned. It almost makes me want to stop observing it. Almost. Not quite. Never. It seems that you're the one who is bound to this world. Now that you know how it ends. He muttered to himself, while also rolling around the soul he was holding in his hand, before creating a silver dagger out of blackness. You're not as powerful as you believed, but... He continues as he hit the dagger in the shadows once more. I can still use you. For you see, I have a plan. He's informed the being. He turned around to glare at the god of the dead. And what manner of plan can that be? The only reason Diana has so much success at thwarting us is that she can hide away next to the humans as one of them. But she was revealed for what she really was. This she would be part of the far less advantageous position. Hayes. Yo, over here. Guy who's read more DC comics than you. Problem. In a lot of the continuities, mainly as of now, Diana's identity has been public for a very long time. She hasn't had the Diana Prince identity in ages. In the comics, she was a freaking ambassador. She worked at a freaking Taco Bell, for crying out loud. Still want to get that issue. Hayes explained as he waved his hand and brought up an image that interested the being. All we must do is wait a little longer. Then I shall send in one of my strongest souls to show the world what she really is. And why they should fear her. I repeat, Hades. Taco Bell. And she liked it. Chapter 22. Stern, not cruel. The winds howled in protest, while the snow beat itself against the windows. But the students within the walls of the classroom had far more to worry about than the blizzard outside. For it was test time, and the students under the two lids of Diana knew that her tests were the ones to be feared. Her tests were crafty, and most of the time questions had more than one answer. So as Diana walked down the rows of seats with a smile on her face, handing out sheets of paper to the students, they all felt a chill going down their spines when they stared down at the test for the last year. All except for Twilight, who relished the challenge that Diana's test gave her. You should all know the rules by now. You have until the end of the class to complete the tests. Work hard and no talking. If I catch any of you cheating, well, I'll let your imaginations take care of the rest. Diana said with a small chuckle, chilling the room further. Now then, the test begins now. Every student turned their attention towards their test and began to scribble away. Like Diana and the owl on her desk, they gazed out the room to see which students had studied and which were in a rough time. Poor Crush. It seems the test might be the one that causes his brain to stop. Athena said with a shake of her head. Diana gazed over the student and found him banging his head against the desk in a desperate attempt to recall what he had learned. Crush, please keep the noise down. It'll disturb the other students. Diana advised. Cress obeyed her words immediately, but Diana could see it was almost on the brink of tears. Cress, I also found that meditation and deep breathing can help Bill in recalling information. If you are willing to bash your head against the desk, then perhaps you would be also willing to give this a try. With nothing to lose, Cress closed his eyes and began to breathe softly. Diana smiled before turning her gaze to the rest of the students. Diana gazed over Fluttershy quickly, seeing that her face was a pale color as she was chewing nervously on her pencil. But then Diana glanced down at her test and found out she was doing well. She doesn't need any advice, Diana decided, while gazing at the only empty chair in the room. But the injury Sunset had received, she had fallen behind a few weeks in terms of classwork. It was very kind of you to allow her extra time to study so she wouldn't fail, Athena said, after seeing where Diana had been looking. Somehow, I get the feeling she would pass even with the missing time. Diana smirked, but I do not wish to push her too hard. She already does that to herself. Between her training and helping me with finding solutions to Hades, I figure she could use a little more time for school. Diana, you're not showing favoritism because Sunset is your highest pupil, are you? Athena asked in a joking tone. Of course not. I'll simply taking into account what Sunset has gone through, and adjusting accordingly. It's not her fault that one of Hades' lackeys attacked her. Diana thought I'd reply, before a smile crossed her face. Besides, Sunset wouldn't be happy if I went easy on her. That's not the kind of person she is. She works hard and, given the chance, she'll soar even higher. Yes, she does. If only every student you gave that chance would take it. Thea muttered. Diana glanced at the back of the room towards a rainbow-haired student, knowing all full well at whom Athena was looking. With her hand's eyes, Diana was able to easily see the slit forming on Rainbow's forehead, while her face had an absolute look of terror on it. Seems that she didn't know about the change to the final section. That's what she gets for missing the tutoring you tried to offer her. Athena chuckled while Diana simply shook her head with disappointment. That's right. This test is her last chance to get her grades up so she can play on her team. What does she need to make on the test again? At least an A-, Diana muttered. Focus was taken away from Das into twilight. Was walking up to the desk with a small, smug smile on her face. That was a pretty tricky class question, but only for students who forgot the little hints you dropped at the end of the last class. Twilight said she handed her paper to Diana. Diana and Athena both rapidly glanced over the test. Large smile crossed Diana's face when she finished looking it over, before she raised her eyebrows at Twilight. 100% again, Twilight. You never fail to impress. Diana said she grabbed her red pen and wrote the letter grade on top of the paper. Could you use blue? Blue's a lot more comfortable color, right? With phrases such as yours, you may have many doors open to you. I am curious to see what you decide to do in the future. Twilight made a squeaking sound as she took the test and raced out the door. Diana smirking when she spied Twilight do a fist bump on the other side. Diana glanced up at the clock to see there was still plenty of time left, went back watching the students like a hawk. One by one, the students came up to their tests and handed to Diana. They waited before her with nervous looks as she gazed over the tests, studying their fates. Good job, Fluttershy. This is a B. You've put a lot of work into this. D+, Crust. A far better score than your previous test. See, you are learning. Seriously, Lightning Dust? You drew on your test? The students filed out of the room after Diana graded their tests. Only the people left in the room were Diana and Rainbow Dash, was still staring down at her paper in the back. Rainbow Dash dared to glance up at the clock, see she only had a few minutes left, causing her face to fall. As she slammed her head into the desk. Do not worry about time, Rainbow, Diana said, causing Rainbow to snap back up. You can go until you finish. Rainbow visibly sighed in relief before turning her attention back to her paper. Athena raised an eyebrow at Diana's words before the door opened and the face of Sunset peeked in. Diana held up a finger to signal she needed more time. Sunset nodded and closed the door after giving Rainbow a worried look. 10 more minutes passed before Rainbow slowly rose out of her chair and walked towards Diana's desk. Both Diana and Athena noticed that her legs were shaking as she approached the teacher. When she handed her test to Diana, she couldn't look the teacher in the eyes. Diana raised an eyebrow at Rainbow's behavior, before she and Athena can glance over the test. Well, she did better on this than I expected, Athena admitted. But there we go. There's errors in the section she missed out on. Well, I've done the math, Diana, and I believe that both of us know what she got on this test. Yes, a B. Diana agreed before glancing up at Rainbow Dash. Looked like she was about to throw up. Diana then removed her glasses as she glared at Rainbow Dash with a stern look. A look that immediately made Dash hurl. Rainbow Dash, I can't help but notice that most of the points you missed out came from the last section. My sis and I went over in great detail during our morning tutoring. Tutoring you were not there for that day. I know I missed that day, but something really important came up that I had to take care of, Rainbow Dash argued. That's fine. But then, why didn't you come to me afterwards, to see if you could have made up what you missed? Diana asked. Rainbow Dash's response was to stare at the floor with a look that Diana couldn't place. Rainbow Dash, what was so important that it took up days of your time? Time that you could have been using to study for this test? I can't say, Dash finally admitted. Diana and Athena both stared at her response. It had to be something related to the vortexes that have been opened up recently, Diana thought. Sunset told me they started to appear again. As sad as that is, Rainbow still failed to get the grades he needed. Perhaps if she had taken learning seriously from the beginning, this wouldn't have happened. Diana said with no capacity in her voice. Instead of responding, Diana chose to glance down at Rainbow's test once more. With the grades she was getting at the beginning of the year, it's still impressive that she was able to get such a high score. Diana noticed before glancing again at 2 bonus questions. She even figured out acceptable responses to my riddles, something only Sunset managed to do in the past. She really devoted herself, didn't she? Diana crossed her hands and thought for a long time. She glanced at Dash with a stern look. One that nearly brought Dash to tears. Rainbow Dash, I'll talk to your coach and get you back on your team. How quickly Rainbow Dash went from nearly having a breakdown to euphoric surprise to Diana. A moment later, Rainbow Dash was dancing around the room, yelling as loud as he could. You mean a test? Rainbow Dash asked Diana when she finally calmed down enough. I mean, don't get me wrong, Diana. I'm kind of excited, but do you feel like I didn't earn this? Well, it would have really helped if there was some character development and that we showed you interacting with the main 6. But as we showed that you earned this. I know. Your test has shown me that you have learned. You also showed me how dedicated you are to your friends and helping others. Diana explained. Her explanation only caused Rainbow Dash to stare at her teacher in confusion. The bonus points are what saved you. But the point is simply, yes, you passed. Rainbow Dash let out another victory cry while Diana stood up, marking down a few things on Dash's test before handing it back to her. Dash grabbed the test and held it tight, before racing back towards the door with the largest grin on her face. However, Diana said it with such authority that Dash stopped dead in her tracks. If you stop studying, or your grades will fall once more, then not only will I take you off the team again, I'll personally drag you to the tutoring lessons with Sombra, and make sure you attend each one. Am I clear? Heh! Joke's on you, Diana. I'm not even in your class next semester. Damn! She's right. Yes, ma'am! Rainbow Dash said as she saluted Diana. Diana then smiled and waved Dash away with a chuckle. The student raced around the room. As Diana picked up her desk, she still held Rainbow Dash celebrating in the halls. I am not happy with you, Diana, Athena said with some heat while Diana finished packing up. Dash did not deserve to pass. You and I both know that. Yet you chose to give her a higher grade than what she deserved. I am disappointed. Didn't you hear me, Diana? Athena, I gave her bonus points. Diana responded as the door to her room opened once more. Can I come in now? Sunset asked. Of course, Sunset. How are you feeling? Diana asked her student while ignoring the looks of anger and rage Athena was giving her. Much better, actually, and I'm ready to begin training again, Sunset said with confidence, getting a laugh from Diana. I have no doubt that you are, but I prefer if you rested just a little longer, just to be safe, Diana replied as she headed for the exit. Sunset pouted for a second before Diana walked out of the room. However, there is something you can do for me. What's that? You said your friends in Equestria are skilled at magic, correct? Well, I'm skilled as well, but yes, they are. Good. I've been doing some thinking, and an answer to a question continues to elude me. Care to take a guess of what the answer might be? Of course. Good. My question is, why hasn't Hades himself come to your world to try to steal magic? Diana asks. All he has done so far is send in minions of his that he knows stand no chance against me. Now, if he were to come himself, even I couldn't guarantee that I would keep all of you safe. But he hasn't yet. My question is, why? Maybe because there's magic keeping him out? Sunset answered. An excellent idea. In fact, that's right along the lines of Athena and I were thinking. Diana praised with a smile. But I thought you didn't have an answer. We don't. This is our hypothesis for now, Diana answered. Let's say there's a magic keeping Hades out, but not his forces. What do you think we should do next, then? Well, I would modify the magical power so it would keep both Hades and all of his... Sunset trailed off, glancing onto Diana's plan and gazing up with her smile. You want to see if my equestrian friends can figure out anything about this magic. Now, plus, we're creating a shield that will prevent Hades from getting to this world. And my star student strikes again. Diana said with a laugh. As she laughed, she didn't see Sunset's lights light up in her words. Yes, we can make that barrier even stronger. Then perhaps not only would we be able to keep Hades out, but maybe that nightmare that wants to end your life. If we do that, then I would no longer need to protect you or your friends. So then you would go home, right? Sunset asked as she looked away. I have to eventually. I am needed on my world. Yeah, I figured. Sunset whispered sadly before glancing up at Athena, who was glaring at Diana. Why is Athena so mad at you? I've never seen her mad at you. Do you mind if I answer your question with a question? Diana asked her reply, getting a confused look from Sunset. Can you tell me what Rainbow Dash was doing during the early morning last Tuesday? That's easy. A three-headed serpent came through a vortex and attacked Rarity on her way to school. Wait a minute, Rarity actually exists in this universe? Well, according to the author, he can't write Rarity really well, so he decides to leave her out. So I can't write... You're trying to think of what's the domain since you can't write real well? Yeah. You're coming up blank? Yeah. What's this say, Pinky? Fine, I can't write Pinkie Pie really well, but I still keep her included. Rainbow Dash got her a call for help and raced to her from the school. If Rainbow hadn't shown up, Rarity might not have made it. Sunset explained. So she was confused a moment later when Diana gave a smile to Athena. So she missed class so she could save her friend and stop a monster. I see that's worth some bonus points, wouldn't you, Sunset? Diana asked. Sunset could only nod her head in confusion once more, not knowing why Athena let out a scoff and flew off on her own. What was that about? Don't worry. Gods just have a hard time admitting defeat. Diana laughed as the two raced the front doors. Come on. It's the last day of the school year, and I want to teach you a few tricks to fight in the snow. Need to make the most of the time we have left, after all.